What's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OG GM. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I am really sleepy. It's the 27th day of December 2022. I don't even know what year it is anymore. Wow, this year has come to an end rather quick. It has been a weird, strange, bizarre year, that's for sure. It's 53 degrees and cloudy here at Site B, and it's time for another exciting episode of Let's Spin the Wheel of Irrelevance and see what the topic is today. Ding! Accessibility in Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop role-playing games. Tabletop role-playing games need to be more accessible to apparently an entire population of people who have never played the game because of special needs, which of course is completely and utterly untrue. No single blind person, no single deaf person, no single person with a disability has ever played the game ever in the 48-year history because it hasn't been accessible to them till just now, which of course is an utter load of BS and a desperate attempt to just get more money by playing the It's Accessible. So let's take a look at this latest thing from the brilliant minds of Combat Wheelchairs. The D&D kit aims to make games more accessible from Jennifer Kretschmann. So what is in this D&D thing that makes it more accessible to people of disability who didn't have the game accessible to them for the past 45 years? Well, you know what? Let's just erase all this. How about if Kretschmer, if you want to make this thing truly more accessible to people, don't charge the ridiculous amount of money you're charging for it. How about only charge, I don't know, $20 for it? That would make it accessible. All right, what's in this? Okay, so it's easy to open and carry. It uses high contrast colors and has Braille and an on-screen reader friendly. So if you're not familiar with screen readers or touch-to-talk pads, are basically a dumbed-down version of an iPad specifically programmed for individuals who have difficulty communicating verbally or making connections between one topic and another topic. So talk to text, touch to talk devices will have pictures and icons of things that are easily recognizable by people with these disabilities. I've worked with a lot of people who use them, and you go beep, 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 and it tells you stuff like that. So if somehow this kit has a built-in, I guess, barcode that you can scan or icons that you can use to upload. Considering how much a touch-to-talk device costs and how difficult it is for them to get just in normal schools for normal people who suffer from this special need and have this difficulty, you could have just donated the time and money to actual kids who actually need touch to talk. It comes with a standard Dungeons and Dragons starter set, as well as a tactile DM screen, because tactile DM screens have never been tactile before. Includes page holders and comes engraved with the recipient's name. Oh, so yes, each individual one is geared towards a special needs child or adult, thus causing you more money. A D&D themed fidget toy for neurodivergent individuals. These are known as dice. And do you really want them fidgeting at your table with things? Because I've got somebody in a game I'm in right now who's neurodivergent and is constantly fidgeting, and those things go all over the place. So you know what? If there's somebody at the table who does STEM and hasn't already something built into their own utility belt of tools to deal with everyday life by having a neurodivergent STEM toy, give them a squishy ball. Magnetic inspiration tokens that attach to What? Because the character record sheets aren't magnetic. Chances are the table isn't magnetic. So while inspiration tokens are cool, because otherwise I think it is if there's a mechanic in 5e that is completely and utterly forgotten about on a regular basis, it's probably inspiration. Nobody really ever uses it. Nobody really ever understands it. It never really comes up. I doubt it's going to be in 6th edition. It's just kind of I don't know. So why would I need a magnetic inspiration token if there's nothing else inspirational to token it to? Plus, it's just something somebody could put in their mouth. And a lot of neurodivergents put things in their mouths when they're fidgeting. Magnetic ball bearings. Well, those will get lost within just 5 seconds. Plus, what do I need them for? Are they part of the magnetic inspiration tokens? Why do I need ball bearings in a D&D game unless it's something to fidget with? Initiative trackers. Well, really, this is something that should have been in every D&D kit since day one. Some form of initiative trackers. Every starter set should have had initiative trackers. One of the very first things Wizards of the Coast should have been producing for 5e in 2014 is the magnetic initiative tracker boards or initiative tracker cards, because dear God, the cumbersomeness of the D&D 5e combat and initiative is just, how many times in your typical D&D game do you hear somebody go, "Oh, you forgot me"? A 3D pin and a screen light. Okay, so that means either what do you mean by 3D pin? Like if I draw with it, anything that appears is 3D. Well, you need a whole special technology for that. So again, we're getting into the hundreds of dollars. And then a screen light, is that what? A little thing that hangs over my iPad so I can see better? Are you talking projector onto the wall? So when I draw with a 3D pin on my iPad, everything is projected onto the wall? And then it comes in an easy to open case with velvet backs and Braille labels attached. So out of there, all that, the only thing that really stands out to me as inclusivity to accessibility to people with special needs is the Braille. And what about what about this? How about instead of all this gobbledygook, a whiteboard and wet erase cards? So you could write down stuff and they could write down stuff or how about a 3x5 card of basic ASL? Fidget toy. Just a squishy ball? I mean, then we go on that it's high contrast, textured, easy to open. Okay, so if it's accessible, there's a lot of accessibility things that you aren't covering. Basically, you have got neurodivergent kind of covered down, but not really. You've definitely got visually impaired cover. Hearing impaired doesn't really seem to be addressed. What about movement impaired and other forms of special needs? Individuals who want to interact with the D&D community. There should be, if you really want to be inclusive to everybody who has a special need, there should probably be some, I don't know, basic first aid training in there. And all the other things that would lead to potential legal nightmares. So do we need this? Well, the biggest advertising thing for this is that it's coming out of the irrelevant assumption that up to now, tabletop role-playing games have not been accessible to people with special needs, kids with special needs, except I know for a fact that kids with special needs have been playing D&D for as long as there has been a D&D. And kids with special needs have been playing 5e for as long as there has been 5e. And we have been finding ways to make tabletop role-playing game accessible to individuals with special needs since day one. Okay? Because the only tool you really need to be part of a tabletop role-playing game community is this. This is it. This is the only thing. Then you need maybe this, but we've come up with dozens of ways to come up with new ways to do this. Random number generators. We've already got hundreds of ways to randomly generate numbers for individuals with special needs. And that was before the advent of calculators and random number generators that were electronics. And we've had 8-bit random number generators since the 80s. And calculators that could randomly generate generators. And even if you couldn't have those, we had 3x5 cards. So the only thing in here that is actually really is the initiative tracker. And that's really something Wizards of the Coast should have been producing for D&D since day one. This sounds like a lot of money. And as somebody who works with children who's special needs and continues to work in that field and deal with that population, this is a lot of money that I would rather seen actually donated to charities that help individuals with special needs. If we go back to the very first thing, the digital DM screen and the screen reader friendly. Okay, I can tell you from personal experience, those things are impossible to get your hands on. And they run on an average of $250 to $300 if you're lucky. There's some cheaper ones that run around 150, but the real good one, bare minimum, we're talking 150, $200. And that's today's technology. So your average school for an average children with special needs can maybe scrounge up in a year 2 or 3 of those that they have to divide amongst by a population of special needs. So let's just talk about the school that I used to work at, where we had about 300 students and about 80 of whom were special needs. And amongst them, we had about 10 of whom needed screen readers or talk-to-touch type communicators. And out of those 10, we had 3 new ones at the beginning of the school year. We had older ones that we were able to repurpose for kids that had moved on or whose parents were able to get them iPads through one way or another. Now, there was a large amount of money that California was supposed to donate to the schools to get this type of technology available to them. And all the schools were promised tons of new of these machines before COVID. But you know what? Most of the schools never saw them. Don't really knew where the money went. Today, still, the technology is difficult for schools to get, especially public schools, private schools, private sector schools, but for your public school that's dealing with a standard population, don't have a lot of money. We're just dealing with standard, everyday, run-of-the-mill kids and have integrated special needs children with regular kids. They don't have the money to get a screen reader friendly for each technology for each and every special needs child that has communication difficulties. So instead of building a kit for D&D, why don't you just make the money to make the technology more available to the individuals who actually need it? Because I assure you, as somebody who does have not 1, not 2, but 3 special needs, and has had to deal with them since the age of 7, when I was made aware that I had special needs. In the public school system in the late 70s and early 80s in California, we found ways to make D&D and tabletop role-playing inclusive. Individuals with special needs have always been welcome at the table. And there has always been ways to make the game inclusive for them. And the table has always worked to find ways around the disabilities. There's never been a situation where I have been in my 40 some odd years of this hobby that anybody with any special need has not felt welcome or not felt a way to access the table via whatever. So is this something necessary, or is this just somebody trying to milk the I want to be inclusive for tabletop role-playing game bandwagon? Well, of the things available, the only thing that actually stands out to me is the initiative trackers and the screen-friendly reader, which is something that, really, if somebody has that communication difficulty, you would hopefully already have. And if they didn't, then that's money I'd rather see go to them. But really, Wizards of the Coast, in closing, you should have just made initiative trackers from day one. So what do you think? Is this something we need? Is this something we don't need? Am I right? Am I wrong? Does anybody care? Am I just wasting my time here? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? I don't know. Do we need inclusive, accessible kits for tabletop role-playing game? Or has the hobby always been inclusive for tabletop role-playing? And is this money that should better have been used to support charities that deal every day with individuals with special needs, as opposed to lining the pocket of one person who's like, oh, I want to make the game more inclusive, because it's not. Nowhere in the history of the game have people felt like the game was for them till now. You tell me what you think. It's news. Yeah, that's all I got. As somebody who is special needs, no, never once did I feel that I was not able to play the game in any shape or form. Never once did I feel like the game wasn't accessible to me. If anything, the game was way more accessible to me than a lot of other things in real life. I mean, I can play D&D. I can't drive. I can play D&D. I don't know how to tell time. My brain literally does not process time or direction, so I can't drive. But I can play D&D. And I can play D&D with a piece of paper, 3 6-sided dice, and a pencil. And if I'm lucky, this thing. And if I'm really lucky, this thing. And I'm probably just wasting a lot of time and pissing a lot of people off. And I'm really tired. I don't know why. Anyways, that's it. That's news. That's today's Why Is This the Thing? We've spun the wheel of irrelevance. And today's irrelevant topic is accessibility. If I have one wish for 2023, it's that I never have to talk about these things ever again. I want to retire the wheel of irrelevance and focus on things that actually matter in the hobby. Will that actually happen? Probably not. But it's a dream. Speaking of dreams, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help me hit, wait for it, 1 billion subs by the end of 2023. It's a dream. And if I'm going to dream, I'm going to dream big. Yeah. And remember, this is my job. So if you want to support me, why don't you check out the various forms of merchandise I have available, including my entire line of Minion Monster zines on Big Geek Emporium, and my merch over on Redbubble and Spreadshop. Or you can support me through the Patreon or Super Chat or whatever, or just, buy me a sandwich. Till next time, I'm the OGGM. Stay dry as it's supposed to be raining. Happy New Year. And as always, well, oh, hey, my God, we've got comments. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Mostly just people making fun of me. Am I being unsensitive? Probably not. I think it's one of the few topics I can speak of with some level of assurity, being as I am special needs and I work with special needs. Thanks for ignoring all the rest of us special peoples. You're special in my heart, Cal, always. Each and every one of you is special. Thank you for helping me reach 1,000 subs. Thank you for being part of the nonsense that is the OGGM adventures. And hopefully we'll have more adventures in 2023 or whatever year it is. I don't even know anymore. Till next time, I got to go get some coffee or water or vitamin C or take a walk.